Hello to all my beautiful people out there. Hope you guys are having a great time. This is your friend Ashish, and I'm back with another interesting lesson. And today, in this lesson, we are going to learn what is an absolute phrase. What is an absolute phrase? Where do we use it? How do we use it? What comes in it? We are going to answer a lot of things. This is confusing for a whole lot of people. We're gonna try to make it easy today. And before we understand what is an absolute phrase, let me guys tell you, absolute phrases are something that we do not use when it comes to speaking. This is something that we use when we write, right? When we describe something in details, that's where we sort of use them. Now, let us understand what is an absolute phrase. So, an absolute phrase is a phrase, obviously, which means a group of words that does not have the subject verb combination. It's a phrase that modifies the entire sentence, that modifies the main clause. What do I mean by modifying the main clause? It simply means it gives more information about the main clause of the sentence. This is exactly what it does. Now, what do we have in an absolute phrase? In an absolute phrase, we have a noun in the beginning, right? It starts with a noun followed by a participle. That could be a present participle, ing form of the verb, or the past participle, that is the third form of the verb, right? Followed by modifiers or objects, right? So just understand that it has two major things. A noun, sometimes a pronoun, but most of the times you'll see a noun in the beginning, right? Followed by a participle. Now, this is what we have in an absolute phrase. And what does it do? It modifies the entire sentence. It modifies the main clause. It gives more details. It gives more description about the main clause. This is exactly what it does. Now, a couple of things that you should know about an absolute phrase. Number one, it starts with a noun. It always starts with a noun, sometimes a pronoun, but most of the times you'll see a noun starting with it, right? Second, it does not have a finite verb. This is very important to understand. An absolute phrase does not have a finite verb. What is a finite verb? A finite verb is a verb that has a subject and that shows tense, right? That has a subject, that has a particular subject, and that shows tense in the sentence, in the main clause, right? Number three, it modifies the main clause. It gives extra information. It gives description about the main clause. It adds more details to the main clause, right? This is what the point number three means. Point number four, it is offset or separated using a comma. It is not joined in the sentence using any conjunction. No, that's not the case. It is offset using a comma, right? So we separate the absolute phrase, we offset it using a comma. And number five, the sentence makes sense without it. It simply means even if you take the absolute phrase out of the sentence still will make sense. This is what it means, right? Now we've understood what is an absolute phrase, what do we have in it, right? What does it do? Now let us take some examples and understand this better. She is jumping in the air with joy, her brother coming from China. So in this example, our absolute phrase is her brother coming from China. Her brother is the noun phrase, brother is the main noun. Coming from China is the modifying phrase. Coming is the present participle. For a lot of you, it might look like a sentence to you, but if you look at it separately, let's do it. Her brother coming from China. Does it look like a sentence to you? For some of you, it might, but it actually is not. Her brother is the subject of the sentence, right? Coming from China is a modifying phrase that's giving more information about the noun brother. Her brother coming from China, right? So coming is a participle, a present participle. That's giving information about the noun brother. So her brother coming from China is the absolute phrase starting from the noun phrase her brother. Then we have the present participle coming. Then we have from China is nothing but a modifying phrase, right? So this entire phrase is modifying the main clause. She is jumping in the air with joy. It's giving more information about this sentence, right? That's exactly what it does. Now, we can also have it in the beginning of the sentence. That will not change the meaning, right? We can say, her brother coming from China, she is jumping in the air with joy. So you can have it in the beginning of the sentence. You can also have it at the end of the sentence, right? Let's look at the next example. The wedding fixed, everyone is happy. In this example, the wedding fixed is the absolute phrase. The wedding is the noun phrase. Fixed is the past participle, right? So this absolute phrase is modifying the main clause, everyone is happy. So this is actually giving you the reason why everyone is happy, right? The wedding fixed, everyone is happy. Let's look at the next example. Our boss shouting in anger, all the team members started working fast. What do you guys think is the absolute phrase here? Simple to find out, right? Our boss shouting in anger, right? Our boss is the noun phrase here. Shouting is the present participle. In anger is a modifying phrase, right? So if you look at this phrase, our boss shouting in anger. Our boss is the noun here, main noun, right? Shouting in anger is a modifying phrase starting with the present participle shouting. That's giving information about the noun, that's modifying the noun boss. Boss shouting in anger. So this is nothing but the subject of a sentence. That could be our boss shouting in anger is sitting in the office, right? That's possible, right? So our boss shouting in anger is the absolute phrase here. That's modifying the main clause. All the team members started working fast, right? So this is working as a reason why the main clause is happening, why everybody started working, right? So an absolute phrase just add more details to the main clause. That just modifies the main clause, right? We can also have it at the end of the sentence. If you want to do it, you can do it, right? Let's take one more example. Her mom being upset, she did not go out to party, right? In this example, her mom being upset, or I can also say her mom upset, is the absolute phrase. Her mom is the noun phrase, upset is the adjective. Here we do not have a participle. See, sometimes we do not have a participle, we have an adjective, right? And even participles work as adjectives. So the whole point of having something after the noun is having an adjective, right? That could be a participle, and that is most of the times. But sometimes we don't have a participle, we have an adjective or a prepositional phrase. That also works an adjective sometimes, right? So sometimes you might see an adjective or a prepositional phrase after the main noun, right? So you can have this absolute phrase with the word being or without the word being. So I can say her mom being upset or her mom upset, she did not go out to party. So this is giving more information about the main clause. She did not go out to party. This is adding more details to the main clause, right? As I told you that an absolute phrase can come in the beginning of a sentence, in the middle of a sentence, and also at the end of a sentence. We've taken some examples of absolute phrases coming in the beginning and at the end of a sentence. Let's have an example where we have an absolute phrase in the middle of a sentence. Let's look at this example. My teacher, her students leaving one by one is depressed these days. In this example, her students leaving one by one is the absolute phrase that's coming in the middle of the sentence. And since it's coming in the middle of this sentence, it is offset using 2 commas. The first one's coming before it and the second one is coming after it. So when you have an absolute phrase in the middle of the sentence, you offset it using 2 commas, right? So we've taken some examples and understood what is an absolute phrase, how does it look like, how to use it, why do we use it. We've answered all the questions. I hope you guys have understood. Now one more important thing. Absolute phrases can be changed into subordinate clauses and even a complete sentence. How? Let me make you understand how. Let's look at the first example that we've taken. Her brother coming from China, she is jumping in the air with joy, right? Her brother coming from China is the absolute phrase here. Now I can change this absolute phrase into a subordinating clause. She is jumping in the air with joy because her brother is coming from China. Because her brother is coming from China, or since her brother is coming from China, or for her brother is coming from China, right? That's how I can make an absolute phrase into a subordinate clause. Did you see that? Simple, right? I can also make it a complete sentence. I can say her brother is coming from China. That's a complete sentence, right? So if I do that, this is going to be two different sentences. Her brother is coming from China. She is jumping in the air. If I want to add, I can do so by making this a subordinate clause, right? Since her brother is coming from China, she is jumping in the air. Because her brother is coming from China, she is jumping in the air, right? So that's how you can do it. So I hope you guys have understood what is an absolute phrase. Why do we use it? What does it look like? What do we have in an absolute phrase? I hope all the questions have been answered pretty well, and I hope you've understood everything. If you guys have any questions, any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. If you guys have liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon with a new topic. Till then, keep learning, have fun.